We'll go inside and check what we have for wiring done so far. So here's the main panel, and here's all the home runs that we've got done so far. These are all the ones for the upstairs. And what we decided to do was do 2-inch EMT out of the box. And then we got some LB elbows, which are the ones where you can open up, and they just go through this plywood and the insulation, the spray foam insulation. So all these is to get the home runs from this box up to there and through in between the floor joists. Because the way I designed this is right about there is where the floor joists start, and then right up there is where they end. So all my HVAC runs will be able to go right through there, and then all my electric will be able to go up and right into the ceiling joist. So I'll show you the other side. And obviously, if you're going to do this, you can run Romex in EMT. You just can't put as much in as if you run everything in THHN wire. Which the purpose of these is just to keep the wires in here protected, as this is a utility room. And I like it because it gives it a nice clean look. And you'll understand once we go up. I'll show you the other side right now, and you can see how all this is to get the Romex from the box up and through the wall in a nice, clean, orderly fashion. And obviously, there's a calculation that you have to do on how many Romexes you can put in there. Obviously, you can't shove that thing full. But let's go over and check the other side out. Alright, so here's the back side. You can see we're on the inside of these floor joists, and those 2-inch EMTs just literally elbow into here so I can get the wires through nice and clean. So what we decided to do is do the home runs for the upstairs and this one, and then probably most of the home runs, not all of them obviously, but I have another pipe that goes up into the garage attic that will take some wire over. But this is what it looks like, and the reason we're still running Romex is because we don't want to run conduit from here. Now you can see the wire can tuck down below the joists behind here and then go run right along that eye joist. You can see one pops up into the ceiling right there. Just makes for a really nice clean install. Won't get in the way of any of my ductwork. Another one pokes up through there, and they just all keep going along here for the upstairs, going up through the floor joists. So we'll go upstairs and we'll check out the upstairs quick. So I got all my boxes mounted. One of my reviewers on the last video I did caught this box right here. We had marked it, and for some reason I faced it the other way, which right here is the shower. So obviously you wouldn't want electric right here, but I went ahead and switched it. Probably would have caught it, but there was a couple people that caught that. But that's just a switch. Here's one of our home runs that comes up. Comes into the box, and this is for a couple questions we got were how high were my boxes. Typically what I do is I mount them 46 inches to the bottom of the box for switches, and then for outlets I mount them 16 inches to the bottom of the box. And in these rooms there's no problem having outlets close enough together to meet code. Code is a 6-foot cord has to be able to reach a plug basically at all times, so you can have up to 12 feet between outlets, but I don't have anywhere near that in any of these rooms. Putting lights in all the closets so they'll have a switch for lights in the closet is something I like to do because I think it makes a big difference, even if it's not a walk-in closet. So you can see I have all of my boxes for outlets and switches marked. We've got all my home runs landing in switch boxes. And we chose to do that just because it keeps it consistent. So if I ever need to know where my main power is coming from the box, I know it goes to a switch in the room. And even in the bathrooms, that worked out because, like where I brought my dedicated 20 amp circuit, this is going to be a switch and an outlet. And so I'll just bring power, another source of power in for the light switch. But it's consistent through the whole house that all my home runs will come into a switch box. And by doing that, I'll know in the future where my main home runs come into. So we started out by marking and mounting all the boxes, making sure we had enough boxes or outlets to be within code. We mounted all our switches, came up with a plan for all of our home runs, and then we drilled our holes, and then we just started pulling the home runs first. So all of the home runs are done up here, and that's the main power from the box to the room or whatever circuit that's feeding. So now when he comes back, we will go ahead and wire up the rest of the rooms. One thing I have to do while he's not here is I'll get all of the ceiling fan boxes made up and hung, and I'll get all the can lights hung, because I'm doing 4-inch can lights in the closets. In the hall there will be can lights, and each bedroom there's going to be a ceiling fan. Out here there's going to be a ceiling fan, and then over this big room there's going to be a great big giant ceiling fan, and obviously a bunch of can lights. Another question I got is, with these pocket doors, can you mount boxes to this? And the answer, electrical box, and the answer to that is no, because your door has to slide in here. But the way I did this is the doors slide this way, and it's nice and easy just to put the switches right here. So it's not a big deal. I mean, you just have to think some of that through when you're using pocket doors, to make sure you have a location for a switch when you come into the room or the bathroom or whatever it may be, wherever you're using it. Alright guys, we are going to mount some ceiling fan boxes, and I make my own bracing, so I'm going to show you how to do that, or how I go about doing it. You can buy pre-made metal ones, but they're just kind of expensive, and I feel like for the effort that I have to do to make them out of 2x4s, they're just as strong, if not stronger, and it's pretty cheap to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of the room, and I'm going to do that on the floor, and I'll explain why once I do that. So we'll go ahead and the center of the room marked. So now what we're going to do is take the Stabila LAR 350, and if you look here, it's got little marks on the sides. That's so you can line it up with lines. And I'm going to line those up with my X. And then I'm going to turn it on. Center of the room, I got a big X, as you can see. And then I use the LAR 350, and there's little marks right here on each side where you can line up the lines. And then there's a plumb laser that comes off the top. And if you can see, it's actually right up there on the ceiling. But what I'll do now is I'll take my 2x4 that I cut to fit inside here, and I'll put it up there. I know that's the center of the room. Now my job is to figure out where to mount this 2x4 in between here, so my box sticks down a 1/2 inch below these ceiling joists to account for drywall. So that's alright, so there's my 1/2 inch line right there. So if I measure this box for a 1/2 inch line, it's 2 1/4 inches deep, and I got to subtract a 1/2 inch from that, so that's 1 3/4 inches. And then my 2x4 is 1.5 inches. If I hang this down 1.5 inches to account for the 2x4, I got 3¼ inches. That means my 2x4 needs to be mounted 1/4 inch below the top of the joist, if that makes sense. So 3½, come down 1/4, and I'm just going to scribe a line. And that's going to be where the top of my 2x4 goes. And now that I got my board mounted, which is extremely strong, I can take my square and run a pencil line right through the center of that light. And then I can turn my laser off. So now that I got that, you can see I got an X mark there. Now it's nice and easy to mount my box. Now we have a really nice, strong box to mount our ceiling fan to. So that's a benefit of having a laser where you can run a plumb line straight up. And I choose to use a 2x4 flat with a metal box because that will give me good stability. So that's good and fastened in there. I'll just put a ground wire on it right now while I'm here, and then I'll move on to the next one. Alright, so we're going to mount can lights in my closets for all my closet lighting. That's something I like to do, is put lights in the closet. I don't care if it's a walk-in or not, I just love having lights in there. Alright, so we got 2 4-inch can lights in the closet. Got our ceiling fan box mounted, and I just have to do that 3 more times up here. So I'm going to use the same concept on all the rooms. So I'll go ahead and go around, mark everything out, and then get all of this mounted. Shallow closets. You want to cheat your lights to the front. That way, you got clothes hanging, your light will come down in front. So that's what I do. I usually put 2, like an 8-foot closet, I'll put them 30 inches in from both sides, and then the light is towards the front coming down. Works out pretty nice. Some things to keep in mind when you're wiring is try to think about where your plumbing's going to be, because you got to have vents and drains, and try to not run your wire in the way of those, otherwise you're going to have problems later. So I try to mark in spaces where I know I'm going to have, that's a PV for plumbing vent, so I know that I'm going to have a drain and a vent in this section, so I try to keep it clear of wiring. Try to keep all the wiring up here. If I have to, I'll go up and over with the wiring. Same thing on this side. Marked it with a PV for plumbing and vent. And that just helps when you get to your plumbing, you don't have to work around wiring, because you want to keep your wiring in the center of your stud, and if all possible, otherwise you got to protect it with metal plates, which that could get to be a pain in the butt if you're not careful and pay attention to what you're doing. Another thing when you're framing to think about, when you're nailing your bottom plates and your top plates in, your double top plate, is nail where the studs are. Don't nail in the middle, because if you have to drill holes for wiring or for plumbing vents, you don't want to be hitting nails. And if it's you doing it, well, then that's your own fault. But if you're hiring a plumber in or an electrician in and they come in and they start hitting nails, that's going to be really frustrating to them. So when you're framing, I know we're taking a step back to framing, and I should have said this, but don't nail in the center of your studs. Try to nail in the area of your studs, so you know that all these middle sections are going to be clear of nails. And that will save you on drill bits and hole saws and angry plumbers and electricians. So just a couple tips. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this electrical update. I'll bring you more next week. I'm going to be doing a lot more preparation for the electrical, so anything I can think about, I'll film and bring it to you. So any questions, feel free to drop in the comments. If I can't ask them, I'll ask my electrician Kyle, and we'll try to get them answered for you. But appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.